He is a smuggler, a war financier, a lender to kings. He saves the Bank of England in a single night and bankrupts his rivals without breaking a sweat. From a coin dealer's attic in the Frankfurt ghetto to the pillar of the Royal Exchange. From a family of 5 brothers writing letters in Hebrew script to a financial network that outran every government in Europe. Nathan Mayer Rothschild didn't just make a fortune. He invented the machinery of modern finance.
Nathan Rothschild single-handedly regulated the exchange rate of the entire city of London. One man, one immigrant, controlling the financial heartbeat of the largest empire on earth.
When Nathan died, the Times called it one of the most important events for the city and perhaps for all of Europe in a very long time.
In the heart of 18th century Frankfurt, there is a street. It is 14 feet wide, locked at both ends by iron gates, and home to 500 Jewish families forbidden to leave after dark. The Judengasse, the Jews' Lane. For 300 years, its residents have been barred from farming, banned from most trades, and confined behind walls while the city around them grows rich. Mayer Rothschild is a coin dealer, buying old medals, selling them by mail to aristocrats who collect them the way other men collect horses. His biggest client is Prince William of Hesse-Kassel, one of the richest men in Europe, a man who made his fortune renting soldiers to the British during the American Revolution.
Mayer was, above all, patient. He spent years cultivating a single relationship with the Hessian court, offering slightly better prices, slightly faster service, small favors that added up over time. He wasn't the biggest banker in Frankfurt, he wasn't even close, but he understood something the bigger firms didn't, that if you make yourself useful enough to a man with 40 million gulden, eventually he'll trust you with the keys.
By 1792, Mayer and his wife Gutle have brought 19 children into the world. 10 survive. 5 of them are sons. He raises them in a single attic room above the shop, drilling into them the same lesson every day: unity is everything. One of those sons will take that lesson further than his father could have imagined. His name is Nathan. The year is 1777. Across the Atlantic, American colonists are fighting for independence from the British crown. It is a war that most of Europe watches with detachment, except for the German princes who are making fortunes from it. The Landgrave of Hesse-Kassel has been renting entire regiments to King George III. Thousands of young men shipped across the ocean at 76 gulden a head, with a surcharge for every man wounded and every man killed. The blood money flows back to Kassel in the form of English bills of exchange, and in the narrow confines of the Frankfurt Judengasse, a coin dealer named Mayer Rothschild watches those bills change hands and begins to calculate. His business is built on patience and precision. Mayer buys rare coins and antique metals at auction, often at prices well below the catalog, then resells them through handwritten catalogs mailed to aristocratic collectors across Germany. His edge is simple. He charges less than his competitors and delivers faster. Prince William of Hesse-Kassel becomes his most important client, a man who collects coins the way he collects debts, obsessively and without sentiment. By the mid-1780s, Mayer annual income rivals that of the Goethe family. He moves his growing household into a larger house, the Green Shield. It is here, in the Green Shield, that Mayer third son is born, Nathan Mayer Rothschild. He grows up sharing an attic with his brothers, Amschel, Salomon, Karl, and the youngest, James. There is no separation between home and business. The shop is downstairs. The ledgers are always open. Money sits in bags on the office floor, and the children learn to count before they learn almost anything else.
Nathan was the difficult one, ambitious from the start, impatient and competitive, even with his brothers. His father had to manage him more carefully than the others.
By the 1790s, a revolution in France is tearing Europe apart. But there is another revolution, quieter, more profitable, unfolding in the cotton mills of northern England. British textiles are flooding the continent. German merchants are scrambling to get in on the trade. Mayer Rothschild sees the opportunity, and he knows exactly which son to send. In 1799, Nathan Rothschild leaves the Judengasse. He is 21 years old. He speaks no English. He knows no one in Britain. His father sends him with capital and orders. Buy English textiles. Ship them to Frankfurt. Nathan lands in London, but doesn't stay. He heads north to Manchester, the beating heart of the Industrial Revolution. The Jewish community in Manchester is tiny. Old clothes dealers, umbrella sellers, nobody. Nathan doesn't care. He isn't here for community. He's here for money. Nathan figures out the system within weeks. British manufacturers sell their cloth on credit. 2, 3, sometimes 6 months to pay. But some of them are desperate for cash. Nathan pays up front, in hard currency. And when you pay cash in a credit economy, you buy at 15 to 20% below market price. Then he goes further. Instead of simply buying finished cloth, he supplies the raw materials and the dyes directly to the manufacturers. He controls the inputs. He takes 3 profits instead of 1 on the raw material, the dyeing, and the finished product. He undercuts every competitor in Manchester. He later tells a member of parliament, "I could sell goods cheaper than anybody. In a short time, I made my £20,000 into 60,000.
What Nathan understood instinctively was leverage, not financial leverage in the modern sense, but the leverage of speed and cash in a market that ran on credit. Everyone else waited to get paid. Nathan paid first and demanded a discount for it. It sounds simple, but nobody else was doing it at that scale, that fast, with that level of aggression. He was 22 years old, and he was outmaneuvering firms that had been in Manchester for decades.
But in 1806, the game changes. Napoleon imposes the Continental System, a total blockade on British goods entering Europe. Overnight, Nathan's export business becomes illegal. His response is immediate. He becomes a smuggler. He uses American-registered ships, forged Dutch documents, and routes through Heligoland and the Baltic ports. None of it can be insured. The risks are enormous. In 1809, a shipment to Riga is seized. It takes heavy bribes to get it released. In 1810, French troops raid Frankfurt and confiscate 60,000 gulden of contraband from his father's warehouse. The goods are publicly burned.
Smuggling wasn't just a sideline for Nathan, it was survival. The blockade could have destroyed him, but instead he built a reputation as someone who could move goods into a continent when no one else could. And that reputation, as a man who could move anything, anywhere, through any obstacle, is what drove the British government to his door when they needed someone who could move gold across a war zone. The smuggling years made Nathan Rothschild.
By 1811, Nathan has made a decision. He moves his family to London and opens a firm at 2 New Court, St. Swithin's Lane. And Europe is about to hand him the opportunity of a lifetime. In 1811, Nathan Rothschild opens his counting house at 2 New Court, St. Swithin's Lane. He is 34 years old, married with a growing family, and positioned at the center of the most powerful financial market on earth. London is where the money is, and Nathan intends to control how it moves. But he doesn't operate alone. Across Europe, his brothers are taking their positions. Amschel holds Frankfurt. Salomon works the German courts. Karl moves south toward Italy. James, the youngest, is building a presence in Paris. 5 brothers, 5 cities, 1 family. They write to each other constantly, sometimes 2 or 3 letters a day, in Judendeutsch, German, written in Hebrew characters, so that no outsider can read them. Their launchpad is the fortune of Prince William of Hesse-Kassel. When Napoleon's armies overrun Hesse in 1806, the prince flees into exile, but his wealth, over 40 million gulden, needs managing. Mayer Rothschild and his ally channel portions of William's English investments through the Rothschild network. The family guards his assets, collects his debts, and, crucially, uses access to that capital to fund their own expanding operations. Karl will say it plainly years later. The old man made our fortune.
Nathan was the engine. His brothers knew it. Gentz, Metternich's secretary, said it directly, that among the 5 brothers, one always had the instinct to always choose the right move, and among 2 right moves, the better one. He was talking about Nathan. His brothers were capable men, but Nathan was the commanding general.
By 1812, the Rothschild network stretches from London to Naples. The brothers are richer than most of the princes they serve. But back in Frankfurt, the man who built it all is running out of time. Mayer Rothschild is 68 years old. He is gravely ill, and he has one last commandment to deliver. In late 1812, Mayer Rothschild is dying. He is 68 years old. He decides to revise his will one final time. The terms are absolute. His daughters are excluded from the business entirely. The firm belongs to his sons, and only his sons. Any child who challenges this will forfeit their inheritance. His last words to his eldest son are the words that will govern the family for a century. Amschel, keep your brothers together, and you will become the richest people in Germany.
What Mayer Amschel left behind wasn't just money. It was an architecture. 5 brothers operating by a single partnership agreement, sharing profits across 5 cities, and writing to each other in a language no one could read. The capital couldn't be withdrawn. The books were kept secret, and no daughter, son-in-law, or outsider could touch it. It was a financial fortress disguised as a family.
The brothers honor their father's commandment. They stay together. They keep the books closed. They trust no one outside the family. But Nathan isn't built to consolidate. He is built to attack. And in 1814, the opportunity arrives, not as a business proposition, but as a war. For 20 years, Napoleon Bonaparte has torn Europe apart. Armies march from Madrid to Moscow. Empires fall. Alliances shatter and reform. And every campaign, every siege, every coalition costs money. Money that the warring powers do not have. Britain is financing the resistance almost single-handedly, pouring millions of pounds in gold subsidies to her allies on the continent. The question isn't whether Napoleon can be defeated. The question is whether Britain can afford to keep paying for it. Nathan Rothschild can. Through his brother James in Paris and his agents across Europe, he has built the fastest private financial network on the continent. He moves British gold to Wellington's army. He transfers subsidies to Prussia, Austria, and Russia. His couriers outrun government dispatches by days. The British Treasury is paying him millions, and he is making a fortune on the exchange rate fluctuations his own transfers create. On June 18, 1815, Napoleon meets Wellington at Waterloo. The battle lasts a single day. By midnight, it is over, and Nathan Rothschild knows the result before anyone else in London. a Rothschild courier carries news of the victory from Brussels to the English coast in hours. A boat crosses the channel through the night. By the morning of June 20th, the information reaches New Court, a full 48 hours before Wellington's official dispatch arrives at the cabinet. Nathan goes to the stock exchange. He stands at his pillar, and while London still believes the outcome is uncertain, he buys. British government bonds, consols, are falling on fear and rumor. Nathan buys them at the bottom. When the news of victory breaks 2 days later, the bonds surge. The profit is staggering.
The Waterloo story has been told 1,000 times, and each version gets a little bit more dramatic. Did Nathan know first? Almost certainly. His courier network was faster than any government in Europe. But did he make a killing on consols? That's where it gets a little murky. Some historians actually argue that Nathan lost money in the weeks around Waterloo because the sudden peace crashed his subsidy contracts. But honestly, it doesn't even matter. Because the real story isn't one trade on one day. The real story is that Nathan built a system where he could move information and capital faster than any government in Europe. That's not legend, that's a fact.
Waterloo ends the war. But for Nathan Rothschild, it starts something bigger. Europe is broken. Every government on the continent is drowning in debt. They need a banker who can raise money across borders. The age of sovereign debt is about to begin, and Nathan Rothschild is about to own it. The war is over. Napoleon is gone. But the bill has arrived. France owes 700 million francs in reparations. Prussia's currency is in freefall. Austria's debt is spiraling. Russia's finances haven't recovered from a decade of continuous warfare. Every major power on the continent needs money, desperately, immediately, and there is no Marshall Plan, no international institution, no lender of last resort. There is only Nathan Rothschild. In 1818, Nathan makes his move. Prussia needs a loan. Nathan offers it, but on his terms. The loan will not be denominated in Prussian thaler. It will be in British sterling. The interest will not be paid in Berlin. It will be paid in London. And the bonds will be sold, not just in one city, but simultaneously in Frankfurt, Amsterdam, Hamburg, Vienna, and London. No one has ever done this before. Nathan has just made it easy for any investor in Europe to buy foreign government debt without leaving their own country. The Times will later call him the first introducer of foreign loans into Britain. It is the birth of the modern international bond market, and Nathan Rothschild owns it. Prussia is first, then Austria, then Russia. One by one, the great powers of the Holy Alliance come to New Court with their hands out. By 1822, Nathan has issued loans to every major government in Europe. The Austrian emperor jokes that Amschel is richer than he is. A Rothschild appearance at the St. Petersburg Stock Exchange is enough to move Russian bond prices.
People focus on the Waterloo myth because it's a good story, but this is Nathan's real achievement. He created a financial infrastructure that didn't exist before him.
But there's a cost to being banker of kings. He receives a death threat in 1821 for his connections to Austria. He's becoming the most powerful private citizen in Europe, and the most hated.
Nathan Rothschild is no longer just a banker. He is a political force, courted by governments, feared by rivals, despised by reformers. The Rothschild name is on every tongue in Europe. But power at this scale attracts enemies, and the backlash is already building. Every day, Nathan Rothschild takes his position at the southeast corner of the Royal Exchange. He is the most powerful private citizen in Europe, and he knows it. Across the continent, Salomon is tightening the family's grip on political power through the simplest mechanism imaginable: personal debt. Prince Metternich, the architect of European order, borrows over 1 million gulden from the Rothschilds to buy a country estate. His secretary Gentz is on the payroll. Austrian generals ask Salomon to speculate on their behalf, using inside knowledge of military operations. The Rothschilds don't just lend to governments, they lend to the men who run them. Then, in December 1825, the system cracks. A speculative bubble in Latin American bonds collapses. 6 banks fail in London in a single week. The Bank of England's gold reserves are hemorrhaging. The governor tells the government that a suspension of cash payments may be the only option. Nathan has the gold. James has been shipping it from Paris for months. But Nathan despises Huskisson, the free trade politician he holds responsible for the crisis. Worse, Huskisson has been spreading rumors that the Rothschild house itself is in danger, even sending agents to Paris to investigate James's finances. Nathan has no intention of helping the men who tried to destroy him.
This is the part of the story people forget. Nathan didn't rush in to save the Bank of England out of patriotism or public spirit. He was furious. The political establishment had been undermining him for months.
On the night of December 17th, Nathan delivers £300,000 in gold sovereigns to the bank. More follows in the days after. Then more. Gold from Paris, gold from Russia, gold from Turkey. By September 1826, he has delivered £10 million in total. The bank survives. The panic ends. Britain's financial system holds.
Think about what just happened. The most powerful financial institution in the British Empire, the Bank of England, was rescued from collapse from a Jewish immigrant from a locked ghetto in Frankfurt. A man who couldn't sit in parliament, who couldn't hold public office, who couldn't attend Oxford. Half the city establishment looked down upon him, and he just saved all of them. That's not just irony, that's the entire Rothschild story in one moment.
Gratitude lasts about as long as the crisis. Within months of saving the Bank of England, Nathan is under attack again. Satirical cartoons flood London. Nathan as a pot-bellied angel descending from the clouds with bags of gold. Nathan as a bearded peddler whispering to the Duke of Wellington. Always the exaggerated accent. Always the hooked nose. Always the outsider. Nathan shrugs it off. He has business to do. In 1832, the Rothschilds do something that stuns Europe. They lend £400,000 to the Pope. The papacy is broke. Revolutionary upheaval across Italy has drained the Vatican's finances. The Rothschilds step in, partnering with the Italian banker Torlonia to float the loan. And it is Karl Rothschild, the quietest, most cautious of the 5 brothers, who travels to Rome for a personal audience with the Holy Father. A Jewish banker from the Frankfurt ghetto, kneeling before the Pope, handing him a check.
The satirist Ludwig Born couldn't resist. He said the Rothschilds were more noble than Judas. He sold Christ for 30 pieces of silver. The Rothschilds would have bought him if he were for sale. The sheer absurdity of the moment, that the family that European Christendom had persecuted for centuries was now bankrolling the very institution that sanctioned their persecution. But for Nathan, the papal loan wasn't about religion or symbolism. It was business. The Vatican needed money. Nathan Rothschild had it. It was simply a business transaction.
The Rothschilds have lent to kings, emperor, and now the Pope himself. There is no throne left in Europe that does not owe them money. In July 1830, the French king Charles X is overthrown. Barricades go up in Paris. The Bourbon monarchy collapses in 3 days. And across Europe, the shockwave triggers revolts in Brussels, Warsaw, Bologna, and half a dozen German states. The political order that Nathan has been financing for a decade is falling apart. James is caught in the blast. He and Nathan hold 6 million francs of French government bonds, rent, that are now in freefall.
When the prices rose, James convinced himself he could recover. When the prices fell, he panicked and sold at the bottom. He lost his nerve. And for a Rothschild, losing your nerve is far more dangerous than losing money.
Nathan absorbs the news from Paris without flinching. The London house takes losses of its own, over £56,000, 5% of its capital. But Nathan doesn't panic. He calculates. While James agonizes over rentes, Nathan is already looking at the new map. Belgium has broken from Holland. New governments need new loans. Every revolution creates a debtor. Every debtor needs a banker. He offers to sell guns to the Belgian government. He dangles a loan to the Dutch king. He positions the family to finance whichever side wins, and profit regardless. Their biggest rival, the banker Lafitte, goes bankrupt. The Rothschilds survive. James's confidence is shattered. It will take years to rebuild, but the machine holds. The partnership holds. The brothers hold together, just as their father commanded, and Nathan has already moved on. He lends to Belgium. He lends to Holland. He lends to the Pope. While the old order crumbles, Nathan Rothschild is financing the new one before it has finished forming. By the mid-1830s, the House of Rothschild is the largest financial institution on Earth. The combined capital of the 5 houses, London, Paris, Frankfurt, Vienna, and Naples, exceeds £6 million. That is 9 times the capital of Baring Brothers. It surpasses the reserves of the Banque de France. No private enterprise in history has accumulated wealth at this speed. Their agents operate in Madrid, Brussels, St. Petersburg, Constantinople, and New York. Their couriers cross Europe faster than any government's diplomatic mail. Their private letters, written in Judendeutsch, German, in Hebrew characters, are unreadable to anyone outside the family. 5 brothers, 5 capitals, 1 ledger. Nathan and Hannah have 7 children, 4 sons and 3 daughters. The Rothschilds marry each other. His eldest son, Lionel, marries his cousin Charlotte, Karl's daughter. James marries his niece Betty, Salomon's daughter. 4 of Mayer Amschel's grandchildren marry within the family. Intermarriage keeps the fortune sealed inside the bloodline. It is the final clause of Mayer Amschel's will, enforced not by law, but by custom.
There's a gene for Tay-Sachs disease. Every time Mayer Amschel's grandchildren married, there was a 1 in 16 chance they both carried the damaged gene. And if they did, the child would have a 1 in 4 chance of inheriting the disease. The family was very fortunate. They avoided the worst outcomes. But they were playing a game they didn't understand with stakes they couldn't see. The financial logic was impeccable, but the biological logic was a lottery.
By 1836, Nathan Rothschild sits at the center of an empire that spans the continent. His sons are being groomed to inherit it. His brothers manage it from 5 capitals. His wealth exceeds that of dukes and princes. He is 58 years old. He has never been more powerful, and he will not live to see the year's end. In the summer of 1836, the 5 Rothschild brothers gather in Frankfurt for a celebration. Nathan's eldest son, Lionel, is to marry his cousin Charlotte, Karl's daughter. It is a dynasty wedding, the family reinforcing its bloodline, its capital, its unity. Behind closed doors, the brothers are also negotiating a new partnership agreement. The future of the firm is being written. But something is wrong. Nathan has arrived from Brussels with a recurrence of an old complaint, an abscess, deep and infected, in the most painful place imaginable. The German doctors attempt to lance the abscess. There is no anesthesia. The pain is excruciating. A second swelling forms immediately. They lance that too. Nathan endures it without a murmur. The wedding is days away. The bride's family considers postponing. Nathan forbids it. On the morning of the ceremony, he forces himself out of bed at 6 o'clock. He dresses. He walks to Karl's house under his own power. He sits through the half-hour ceremony, cracking jokes, trying to shorten the rabbi's speech, refusing to let anyone see what it is costing him. The moment the ceremony ends, he collapses in agony. 6 hours of unrelenting pain. He is carried to his daughter's house and put to bed. He will not leave it again. On July 24th, Nathan lapses into violent fever. The septicemia has taken hold. In a near-delirious state, he summons Lionel and issues orders that sound nothing like him. Sell everything, accept losses of 2%. Liquidate the Portuguese bonds. Lionel is shaken. He has never heard his father willing to accept a loss without a fight. Nathan's brothers gather. His wife Hannah is at his side. He has just enough clarity left to dictate his final will, amending the unsigned partnership agreement with the same precision he brought to every deal of his life. The capital stays locked in. The sons act as one unit. Hannah gets a vote on all major decisions. Then the commandment, the same one his father gave him 24 years earlier in the same city: unity, harmony, constant love, and firm unity. To his niece Betty, as she takes his hand for the last time, he speaks in English. Good night forever.
Nathan Rothschild was 58 years old. He went from a 14-foot house in a locked ghetto in Frankfurt to becoming the richest man in Britain, richer than any duke, any industrialist, and any banker on the island. He died of an infection in Frankfurt, the city he was born in. There's almost something biblical about that. The empire builder returned to his place of origin, and the place of origin took him back.
5 days later, a carrier pigeon from Boulogne crosses the channel and lands in London. It carries a message of 3 words. Il est mort. The markets have been falling for days. When the news is confirmed, consols drop to their lowest point in 2 years. The most powerful private citizen in European history is gone. The pillar at the Royal Exchange stands empty. In the years to come, Nathan's 4 sons take the reins without breaking stride. Lionel runs the London house. Anthony handles diplomacy. Nat manages Paris alongside Uncle James. Mayer tends to the English country life Nathan never cared for. Within a decade, the family's combined capital has grown beyond what even Nathan accumulated. They finance railways across France, Belgium, and Austria. They bankroll the Suez Canal. They fund the British government's purchase of its controlling stake in the waterway. Lionel fights for 20 years to take his seat in Parliament. And in 1858, he becomes the first Jewish member of the House of Commons. The battle Nathan began, his son finishes. The Rothschild name endures for generations. The bank endures. The houses in Paris and London endure. The partnerships, the intermarriages, the locked capital, the secrecy, all of it built on the architecture that Mayer Amschel designed and Nathan perfected.
What Nathan Rothschild left behind wasn't just fortune. It was a system, a machine for perpetuating wealth and unity across generations. The family stayed together when every force in European society was designed to pull them apart. And at the center of it all was Nathan's brutal yet simple conviction that unity is the only asset that compounds forever. He learned it from his father, but he made it permanent.
From a 14-foot wide house in a locked ghetto to the pillar of the Royal Exchange, from a coin dealer's attic to the richest man in the British Empire. Nathan Mayer Rothschild did not just build a bank, he built a dynasty that outlasted every throne it financed. He proved that capital has no religion, no nationality, and no master, except the man bold enough to move it faster than anyone else alive. The shadow at the pillar is gone, but the pillar still stands.